In the late 1950s, a Swedish film producer named Fredrik Jürgensen took a tape recorder out into a quiet forest. He wanted to record the songs of wild birds. But when he played the tapes back, he didn't just hear birds. Beneath the chirping, buried deep in the static, he heard a faint, rhythmic pulsing. And then, voices, whispering his name, whispering secrets only his dead mother could know. Jürgensen had stumbled into what would become one of the most obsessive, terrifying, and forgotten chapters of fringe science, electronic voice phenomena, or EVP. But while most people thought these were just radio interference, a small group of scientists asked a much darker question. If consciousness survives after the body stops, does the transition leave a physical footprint? And can we record the exact sound of death? Enter Dr. Konstantin Raudive. He wasn't a ghost hunter or a mystic. He was a serious academic, a student of the famous psychologist Carl Jung. When he heard about Jürgensen's bird tapes, he didn't dismiss it. He became obsessed. Raudive realized that if you want to capture the sound of life leaving this world, you have to eliminate the noise of this world. He built a heavily shielded, soundproof laboratory. He used customized, ultra-sensitive diode receivers that couldn't pick up normal radio broadcasts. He brought in independent physicists and audio engineers to verify the equipment. The goal was absolute, pure silence, an acoustic vacuum. If a sound appeared on the tape inside this room, it meant it wasn't coming from a radio tower in Munich or London. It was coming from inside the room itself, or somewhere much, much worse. Raudive and his team recorded over 100,000 tapes. They sat in the dark for hours, listening to nothing but the hiss of magnetic tape, until they started analyzing the moments of transition. They began monitoring subjects, both animals and, controversially, human archival data, at the very edge of mortality. They wanted to see if the exact moment the brain flatlines created an acoustic anomaly. And what they found shocked the engineers. The tapes didn't capture screaming or grand monologues. The sound of death, as Raudive described it, was a distinct rapid-fire sequence. First came a heavy, rhythmic clicking, almost like a typewriter or a telegraph, ticking at up to 3 times the speed of human speech. Then, the static would warp. The pitch would rapidly fluctuate, forming short, fragmented, multilingual phrases. The voices spoke in a mix of German, Latvian, and Russian, often shifting languages mid-sentence. They called it rowdy voices. They sounded mechanical, hollow, and painfully urgent, like someone trying to shout through a collapsing tunnel. Naturally, the mainstream scientific community was horrified, not by the ghosts, but by the lack of rigor. In the 1970s, mainstream acoustic experts finally stepped in to audit the experiment. They pointed out a massive flaw in human biology, a phenomenon called pareidolia. Pareidolia is the human brain's hardwired obsession with finding patterns in chaos. It's why we see faces in the clouds, and it's why, when you force someone to listen to 10 hours of white noise, their brain will desperately stitch random static into words. Think about it. If I play you pure random static, your brain hears nothing. But if I tell you the static is saying, "make it stop," suddenly your brain forces the audio to fit those words. Furthermore, engineers discovered that despite the Faraday cages, ultra-high-frequency radio waves could still occasionally leak into early tape heads, getting amplified into strange rhythmic clicks. Raudive died in 1974, fully believing he had pierced the veil and recorded the acoustic signature of the afterlife. Today, his work is largely forgotten by mainstream science, relegated to late-night horror podcasts and ghost-hunting television shows. But the experiment leaves behind a haunting philosophical question. When we die, is there a finite energy release? A parting frequency broadcasted into the ether? Or is the sound of death just the sound of our own living brains, desperately trying to find meaning in the absolute silence of the end? If you were alone in a soundproof room, listening to the static, what do you think you would hear? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If this deep dive into forgotten history kept you on the edge of your seat, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation into the strange, the unexplained, and the completely overlooked. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep questioning the silence.